You never forget your first game. And the more of them you play, the more of them you love. Every memory is a story to cherish and share. We fought back monsters, soared across the stars, achieved the impossible. We were heroes. There were games that blew us apart, and games that brought us together. Whether you're reliving childhood memories, or discovering classics for the first time, you'll see why the best stories will never be forgotten.
Today was a great day for Rare. Not only did we get to see a brand new game, we also got to see all of Rare's history, pretty much, except for some few games that aren't in there, but Rare Replay, it's got to be a great feeling, because a lot of people have been asking you to bring back a lot of these classics. There's been so much anticipation. And now you're bringing them all back, sort of.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, a year ago we kind of said, hey, it's our 30th anniversary next year, what are we going to do? And when we kind of rocked around this idea of, hey, can we bring back 30 years of gaming and put it all in one pack, we just got excited about it. And what stories do we want to tell that we've never told before? And everyone's got their favorite Rare game. People haven't got 30 years of Rare history. And we want to just bring that back in a really respectful but fun, just the way Rare does things. You know, everything's fun, everything's nostalgic, the way you remember it, but we've added loads of extras and Easter eggs and lots of fun stuff into the pack.
Right, now you're teasing us here. Yeah. Can you say anything about that, or is it just we'll have to find out yourself?
No, I mean, I probably haven't got enough time in the interview to tell you all the cool stuff. So not only is there 30 games for everything from Xbox 360 back to games that were made in the 1980s, even think about that. We've also got over an hour of developer footage of current Rare employees and previous Rare employees talking about the origin stories of these games. So where did Banjo come from? Why did Kazooie end up in the backpack? Where did that come from? You know, and people talking about the making of these games. So if you've got any interest in Rare or any interest in the history of Rare or the history of gaming, this is like gold, like real brilliant stuff. And then we've got fun things like our theme tune, which is a really fun, kind of sang by the studio, written by Robin Beanland. Just a really kind of fun, celebratory track. We've got snapshots, which let you experience the game. We've got filters that allow you to almost like play the game as if it was through a CRT with pixel bleed and, you know, wavy lines. And we've got, there's a rewind feature in the old game. We've added saves into the old games. So the rewind feature, so if you're playing something like Battletoads, you miss that platform, you can literally hold the left stick, rewind back 10 seconds, and then try and do that bit again.
I wish I had that back in the day.
Well, what this has taught me, and like I remember being 13, 14, playing Battletoads, I was good at games, like that's why I kind of do what I do. Like, I've gone and replayed those games now. I can't do it. Like, we talk about games being hard now. You should go and play some of the stuff in the collection. Games were really hard back then.
And I had patience back then as well. I don't have that anymore.
I had patience and time and probably quicker reactions. And I have neither of those things now. And but with the snapshots and with the challenges, like, we want to give people a chance to experience these games. I mean, we've got, one of the hidden gems in there, we've got the Battletoads arcade machine. So you just think about, like, that wasn't distributed widely, then arcades are few and far between, and then arcades with that machine. So it's a real, like, collector's gem that for people that are interested in an arcade machine of that era to go and play it through and just enjoy it.
Yeah, I gotta feel like this whole thing, it reminds me that this industry is a little bit poor sometimes at sort of preserving and making sure that, because this is art, this is culture, this needs to be preserved so that we can learn from it and study it in the future.
I agree 100%. I think as an industry we're really poor at looking at our history and looking at what games influenced other games. And you can see the influence in later Rare games in some of those really early games. I mean, we just announced Sea of Thieves. It's a commonly known fact, or maybe uncommonly known fact, that Rare Games have featured pirates for 25 years. So we've been seeding this game for 25 years. We just told everyone about it today. But it's kind of, back to your history point, apart from things like emulators and MAME, and like when we move a console generation, everything in the previous generation gets forgotten about. And that's why, A, it's exciting to announce backward compatibility today, but also everything in that Rare collection. Like, I took it home and was playing it the weekend with my son, who's 12, so showing him games that were made in the 80s and 90s, and just him, like, just explaining that games then were made creatively out of the limitations of the platforms. Like, just for him was just like mind-blowing. And it's really cool because, like, I'm 37 years old. Ultimately, I remember most of these games the first time round. A lot of people don't. And just for them to go back and experience and almost take that tour of gaming over 30 years, it's magical.
And it's such a big thing that Rare has been around for 30 years and still has access to all that they can actually do this, because a lot of developers weren't that good at archiving their stuff, and things got lost, and you can't do this anymore.
I'd love to say our archiving was good. It wasn't. Like, we had boxes and boxes and boxes of paperwork, and because Rare did, like, everything in Rare Replay, Rare owns, Rare created. We created the characters, the worlds. Rare did a lot of licensed games back in the day. So obviously with that kind of stuff, it gets complicated quickly, and you kind of go, hey, like, if it's part ownership or other people own bits of it, let's just forget that. So we sort of dismissed that, and then there was some stuff that we just didn't think was worthy to put in the collection. So you kind of get rid of that, but because Rare made so many games, like coming up with the 30 list and just that, hey, 30 games, 30 years, we're selling in the US for $30, £20 in the UK, like, and we're not doing it for value. I just want everyone to experience it and just be able to come and, like, for us, it's about just everyone understanding what Rare is and what Rare's done for the industry and all these great games it's created.
So ultimately, was there like a vote in the studio, or like, because there has to be a cut somewhere, like, do you bring that game or that game, or?
We left it really to the designers, and we had a wall in the studio in one of the development areas where they literally had cards of all the games and, what fans thought of them, what the core of the game is. And we filtered out, like I say, some licensed properties. We filtered out some things that we just didn't think were a good fit. Some games were very similar, because back then you'd reuse like a certain type of game and reskin different characters. And then we did a bit of a Pepsi challenge, and like we just went and played them all. And there was some that just weren't very good. Like, not every game.
No name mentioned.
That's it. And and just some games age really well, like Banjo or Grabbed by the Ghoulies, like have aged well. Even some of the old things like Battletoads or RC Pro Am, has aged well. Some of the games didn't, and if they didn't age well, so we did a qualitative filter and got rid of those as well. And then we're still like, hey, there's 30 really, really good games in here.
Yeah, I guess talking about the past all of this long, we sort of hinted a little bit at the future. Sea of Thieves, big reveal today as well. It's got to feel good to sort of let people know what you're working at, that you got this big, great project coming some point.
Yeah. No, it is, and again, back when I was saying a year ago when we said, hey, it's Rare's 30th, we had Sea of Thieves kind of bubbling then, and it was like, I loved the idea of us announcing something brand new from Rare, but also celebrating our heritage. And I got really kind of passionate about doing this 1-2 punch of like, next year at E3, we're going to go out, we're going to talk about 30 years of Rare, we're going to give the fans this great collection with all this hidden, like, secret stuff from the studio, and then we're going to announce a new game. And what I thought that did is it allowed us to celebrate everything that makes Rare what it is, but also do what Rare's always done, which is do something new and fresh and different. And I felt if we'd have done one without the other, like if we'd have just announced Rare Replay, everyone went, oh, Rare's just redoing its old games, and it's lost all its creativity. And honestly, I think if we'd have just announced a new IP, everyone would have went, oh, Rare's forgetting its past and it's just going to do something else. And if you look at Sea of Thieves, I mean, the art director on Sea of Thieves, a guy called Ryan Stevenson in my team, who's the art director of Viva Pinata. If you look at Sea of Thieves, it looks like a Rare game. It looks beautiful, it's vibrant, it's got this painted texture, beautifulness about it. And I think both together is just a great story for Rare. And, you know, everyone's been asking me, like, hey, tell me more about Sea of Thieves. Like, you guys should tell me what you think Sea of Thieves is. We've put enough hints in the trailer we showed. All gameplay footage, all players being controlled with controller. Like, you should tell me what you think it is.
Well, I don't know, but I thought there was like a little scene there that I found very interesting on a plank.
Okay.
I found that very, very interesting, and sort of, is there sort of a system where the captain has to sort of keep people happy, or could it perhaps be a mutiny coming and things like that? Very interesting. That's a slight hint that I saw there. One thing I got to say about it, the water was absolutely gorgeous.
Right,
I love how you did it, and that has to be such an important thing in a game like that.
Yeah, no, it was, and I feel, and I always knew the team would do a great job with the visuals. The interesting thing is some of the gameplay you talk about, and again, I was very deliberate in the words I used in my setup, which is we want players to play with freedom, and we want them to have limitless possibilities to play the way they want. And we see some of that in the scene, so
interesting.
We're excited, and when we're ready to show more, we'll absolutely reveal more.
Well, we'll edit in the trailer in slow-mo over what you just said.
You should absolutely do that.
Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, thank you. Been great.